This is your daily briefing. You're most welcome to it. West Ham indoors lined up this afternoon. We're without Yves Bissouma, Ryan Sessegnon, Hugo Lloris. None of those back until April. And of course, Rodrigo Bentancur is out for the rest of the season. Here's my plausible 11. Put that up on the screen for you now. Forster, Lenglet, Dear, Romero, Porro, Perisic. Sarr, Højbjerg in the middle, Sonny, Richarlison and Kane. Couple of notes of order. Sarr and Højbjerg, I think that would really work. I went through, I've changed my video supplier, by the way. I went through the entire AC Milan game, and there's something about Sarr, I'm not sure what it is. I think I've said this before about this guy, but there's just something about him. There's a tenacity about him. Perhaps that's it. I don't know. His numbers were reasonable enough. He didn't actually do very much. And AC Milan, I don't think they're the greatest test. A pretty shoddy incarnation of a tremendous footballing side, but not these days. They're not. I'm terrified to think that Skippy will start alongside Pierre-Emile today, but I'd really like to see Sarr given a chance, despite his sort of spindly appearance, which doesn't normally warm me to players, I have to say. Sonny, there will be people just, the trouble with football people, they just come out with these fridge magnet sort of phrases without thinking, oh, careful what you wish for. And the other one is class is permanent, form is temporary. Yeah, but it's just fridge magnet territory we're in. Sonny's been shocking this season. And a bit of a curveball one here, which may not resonate with any of you. I don't know. But I watched Justin Hawkins, Rockstar fame, and he sort of looks at various things going on in the world of sort of showbiz and everything. And John Bon Jovi lost his voice. I'm not sure when, but certainly on their last tour. And everybody was going on about it, and he was just flat and off key, and it was just blah, blah. Now, the guy's toured a lot, okay, and eventually that can catch up with you. But Hawkins made a suggestion, which I'm inclined to sort of posit the notion in respect to Sonny, and he thinks there's a psychological problem. Maybe Hawkins and me are reading too much into the world. Maybe things aren't that complicated. I don't know. But Sonny looks fine on the appearances. John Bon Jovi looks fine. But he's tone deaf all of a sudden. Anyway, the videos are out there. Go and have a look. But Sonny, he has scored, but he's scored against muck. Leicester City, who were in free fall, they seem to be making a bit of a bounce back when they play us. Boo-hoo-hoo. But I don't know, and Crystal Palace, he scored against them and they were shocking, absolutely incoherent football side. But just generally speaking, I mean, he's played a lot of games and it's just not happening for him. Richarlison we have to touch upon, and I put him in there simply on the basis that I don't know. Kulusevski's been a bit flat for me, and that's the truth. I'm not interested in debating it with you. He's been flat. He's not really achieved anything of particular note in his last couple of games. Richarlison comes with the burden of expectation because of the money we paid. We paid 50 million plus. And I've just been pondering that this morning, and I think this is a bit of a scam of sorts. And I've made the point on social media and on the blog. If I was in the press room, do you know what the first thing I would have said? Can you tell us how we're paying for him? And by that, I'm not recruiting cute answers from the audience because it'll be on the drip. But I think this is just another version of the Sissoko deal where you get a guy who isn't great, but with the benefit of that smart accounting we discussed the other week, where you amortise the player over the duration of the contract. Suddenly it's kind of almost value for money as long as he doesn't do anything particularly stupid. And I think giving him a few minutes, this is conspiracy theory territory here, I have to forgive the absence of the tinfoil hat, but I think if you give him 10 and 15 minutes here and there, he doesn't really produce, that kind of keeps it the mystery shrouded, and it goes on, oh, will he, won't he, that sort of thing. Whereas if you see him not score for 90 minutes again and again and again over numerous games, as we're seeing with Sonny, then you come to the inevitable conclusion that the jig is up. So if we look at, refer to my notes, Situation where Spurs are in at the moment, using Tony's vernacular, I repeat that Tottenham need to start building a compelling case for themselves, because at the moment we're on the cusp of being on the slide, and you might not want to hear it, because especially some of you don't want to hear it, because every time you criticise the team, oh, we're still in the Champions League. Yeah, right. We're still at the top of the table. Yeah, right. And we could still potentially win a couple of domestic cups. Yeah, right. And it's becoming more and more tenuous every single bloody day. But those of us who aren't stupid saw this coming a long time ago. So we got West Ham, and people, this is the other thing, Tottenham fans, when they're not coming out with absolute guano about wanting the return of the I'm going to say it, the loser, Pochettino, then there are even Tottenham fans talking about Graham Potter. Graham Potter, who is drowning in talent, has taken on far too many new players in a winter window. They weren't acclimatised that lot until the summer. I hope Todd Bowley has got the brains he was born with and lets the man work, not cook, because I'm not 15. And I just think they've got to ride this season out. I don't expect miracles. I don't think you can put, a sort of Harlem Globetrotter side together at this point in the season. Fair play to him for getting stuck in and spending the money they could afford to spend, as we have covered at length. There's no dark arts at work there. But I just think it's ambitious to think that they're going to achieve anything by the end of this season. A close of play, I think they have to kind of, I don't know what the phrase is, lick their wounds a little and make sure that they're regrouped and ready for next term. Potter concerns me. I like it when managers speak out, but Potter is sort of doing the old, well, it's all a bit much, and I'm not saying I'm the wrong man for the job, but maybe I would have done it different. In the age where everything is about spending, it might be nice for him to say, I can't wait till next season. That's what I would do, kick it into the long grass. I cannot wait for next season. I've set my alarm clock. I'm going to be there early for it. But he's sort of looking to his feet, and I would just tell the press to whistle. I would be very blunt with them. Come back to me when we've had a chance, and saying, it's your fifth game with this lot, or your sixth game, or whatever it is. Not interested. Come back to me. I'll come here every week and talk to you, but don't expect any insight. I'm not going to indulge you. So Spurs are feeling sorry for themselves. Spurs fans are feeling sorry for themselves. Got so many players out. But I'm going to hit you again with the big numbers that nobody can debate with me. Daniel Levy has over 200 million players on loan, and by that I'm going to go through it again, because the sooner stupid people stop sharing duff information via notes on forums or tweets or whatever it might be, the better the world will be. So over 200 million players hidden on loan. Only Brian Gill, who the coach doesn't want, and for reasons I can understand but I don't fully endorse. But the rest of them, they're all too old. They're not there for developmental reasons, as I've said to you before. They're there to hide them, to get them out the way, because basically nobody wants anything to do with them. Where Harry Winks bleating in the press, I wasn't really given a chance. I felt for... Now, you're rubbish, and you've been around for far too long. In an ideal world, Eric Dyer and Ben Davies would be on loan somewhere in Kuala Lumpur, or somewhere where they couldn't do anybody any more boring harm. So you've got 200 million there. You've got another 100 million that's been wasted, absolutely spaffed up the wall on trying to replace Kyle Walker. I hope Pedro Porro starts today. I hope he improves on his debut. Call me unreasonable, but what did we buy? A little China figurine that's come halfway around the world from a very expensive auction house? No, bought a footballer that came in by business class. Pull your finger out, son, and get on with it. Yeah, because that's the business we're in. We're in the get on with it business. So we've got 100 million there, so that's a running total of 300 million, and then we've got another 100 million which Daniel Levy has wasted on paying off compensation to managers that he picked, that he then emasculated. That's the kindest word I can use without getting deplatformed. That he emasculated by not servicing them properly in the transfer windows. So you got 100 million plus 300 million. I make that over 400 million. And that's not including all the money that he and his kith and his kin and his wretched family frittered with their interference and their incompetence in the stadium build. Because we've had it all before. I documented it. It's on my blog. Look it up. Google it. There was no fire panel. They bought the wrong flipping equipment. It was to do with the terrorist alerts and getting people out of the stadium safely. There was a power failure. They were told what to buy by the NFL. They went out and got a different system. They put it in. Didn't work properly. They had to pull it out. To speak to anybody who knows anything about fire panels wouldn't have caused that much chaos. But they put it in and they plastered all over it, and it's cost a fortune. And that doesn't include all the stuff that Mrs. Levy was wandering around saying, well, I think I prefer this in a different shade, because they care about football, don't know anything about football, and they were like those people on those doer-upper shows. Well, they get the house ready, and the first thing that the agent or the show host says when they come in, they go, this is to your taste, isn't it? You just want to sell a blank canvas. And the stadium is what it is, but I'm not wowed out by it. I'm not amazed by it, because do you know why? I'm not 15 and I've been to some really, really nice places in this world. But so anyway, there you go. So Spurs have got a few players missing, and it's not fair. We've got so many games. Yeah, but we had got 400 million quid that got flushed out onto the North Sea, courtesy of the people that own us. So you want to talk about a new manager? I'm not going to do that on this tape, but I saw a fantastic tweet, to counterbalance the stupidity this morning. And a guy was saying, here's my team for West Ham. Actually, don't even bother. Don't come near me. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter who we pick, and it doesn't matter who is the coach. And he even cited David Blaine as a possible potential candidate, because these guys are uncoachable. These guys have been stuck together for too long. There's a few in there that are worth keeping, but unfortunately, a number of them are elderly in football terms. And again, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to debate with you. There are exceptions of players ploughing on into their mid-30s, but you're talking about anomalies. You're talking about characters like Jermaine Defoe, who's undoubtedly his vegan diet helped him. But that's another rabbit hole I nearly went down. But in general terms, in the Premier League, you don't get that many older players. So we've got an ageing squad. We've got a squad comprised of players that have just been around for far too long, and we all know the truth. We all know the truth. So these people say, oh, well, I think we should get in that guy from Brighton. Do you know something? I wouldn't know if I walked past him in the street. You're clutching at straws, and quite frankly, you're an embarrassment. Okay. Look at the betting for the West Ham game. Spurs 5-6, West Ham 10-3, and the draw is 5-2. If you don't understand gambling, and I don't profess to, that basically says that Spurs are in with more than 50% a chance of winning, which potentially we could do. All you need is a goal from Richarlison, a goal from Sonny, and a goal from Kane, and they've got to score 4 to win. It's not a complicated setup. However, how many times have we looked absolutely unlikely to even get a single goal? So I hope Spurs win. I think it might be a draw. The trouble with this lot is, of course, it's their cup final. But the only thing we can hope for is that they've all had a nice shower before they arrive. That's it for now. Good luck. Keep it on them.